Okay, we are here with the Kanetkar family, and I'm Mike Ehrenberg. If you don't know me, I'm a big advocate for the USTA Middle States. I live in the New Jersey district, and I thought of no better family to start my interview with than the Kanetkars from South Brunswick. So we are here with the patriarch of the family, Jay Kanetkar, and his sons Ishan and Ashwin. So guys, we're going to start off talking about your dad, because everybody in the ETA and the Middle States knows about your dad, okay? Because he's been on the circuit for a long time, and he's a legend, and I don't say that lightly. So Jay, let's go back to when you were growing up. You grew up in Piscataway, not a tennis town, and tell us how you picked up the game, and how you started.
Well, my father played, so I grew up playing with him when I was 3, 4, all the way, and kept going.
Yeah.
He was, I guess you would say, he was my coach all the way up till high school, college.
Right. So everybody who knows you and who has played you, they all say the same thing. It's a nightmare. So you're a lefty. You slice off your backhand, you hit a flat forehand. How did you learn that style? I mean, anyone, only John McEnroe plays like that.
I mean, I grew up at the time, I guess it was even before McEnroe a little bit. Probably Ken Rosewall and Labor and all those guys were who my father saw.
Yeah.
And actually who I saw when I was 3, 4, 5 years old. So at some point that must have sunken in that that's how you play.
Right. Okay.
And the funny thing is that same game for me has just carried me throughout all the years, even though the game has changed and both my sons play much more of a modern game.
Right.
I never changed, and it kind of stayed effective all these years.
Right. So like me, my father passed it down to me. Your father passed it down to you, and you passed it down to your sons. So we'll get to your sons in a minute. We just want to focus on you. So tell us about playing the junior circuit. When you first went out there, how old were you playing tournaments?
It was different then in terms of how they have all the age groups now. We have 8 and under, 10 and under. We didn't really have all of that. I think I started playing tournaments when I was 10 years old.
Yeah.
But there was no 10 and under. So I played 14, 16, 18, whoever was available, you played in the tournaments. So.
Right. And who are some of the bigger names playing back then that you remember,
For those years, I mean, somebody would know a little bit older than me, but Joey Heldman was
yeah, I knew
playing tournaments.
Unbelievable player. Yeah.
Yeah. Chris Garner from, I mean, I because I lived in Piscataway, I kind of played both Eastern as well as Middle States because they were both equidistant for me.
Right. Right. And so as you made your way up in the juniors and you lived in the shadow of Rutgers University, was Rutgers always your number one choice?
Yes and no. It's kind of interesting that way. Even though you said I lived in the shadow of Rutgers, that was where I practiced.
Yeah.
In those days, the roads were relatively safe. So even though it was about 5 miles away, I rode on my bike pretty much every day, went to Rutgers, hit with the Rutgers at that time was the place in the New Brunswick area for everybody who played. And that's where I played. I was fortunate during the summer to be able to hit with Rutgers team guys and other people year round. I mean, and actually in a weird way, it made me in pretty good shape. I used to bike for 5 miles one way and 5 miles the other way and play in between.
Is that right? You used to bike to the campus?
Yeah. Well, I was only 10, 12, 14. I didn't have, I actually, my freshman year is when I first had a car.
Okay. So yeah, you went out for Rutgers as a freshman and you started right away, right?
Yeah.
And you played 4 years?
I played all 4 years. I started out at 6 and 5, moved all the way up to 1, and kept playing. So.
You kept playing, okay. And name a few of the teammates you were on the teams during
the freshman year was seniors were Bill Burney, who else? Barrett just graduated. Mickey Cook was with me. Matt Gitterman was 2 years older than me, but he was there. And then, so my year was myself, Barry Ponicello, Steve DeRose.
Right.
We had a
Okay.
program back then. That's the main thing. So,
Yeah, it's a
and
shame.
it,
It's a shame there is no. Yeah.
and it was a good program. It was my first 2 years at Atlantic 10, my second 2 years was Big East, but because we were in those conferences and it was D1, everybody who was anybody who didn't go to a seriously major school ended up going to Rutgers.
Okay. Okay. So after Rutgers, you tried the satellite tour, right?
Yeah, I went out. I played USTA satellites, a couple ITFs in Europe and in India. Ended up playing a little bit, and
Right. Okay.
back then it's a lot different than what it is now in the whole structure. We didn't have the challengers and the way it's set up now. So if you wanted to play circuits, the USGA had basically 5 satellite circuits during like May, actually probably started in March, going all the way through September, right before the US Open.
Okay.
And all of those were open qualifiers. I remember my first one, I went to Lafayette, Louisiana, 256 qualifier. I made it all the way through, and then I won, I think, 3 rounds in the main draw. So I got circuit points, and that got me into the next draw, because if you got enough points, you didn't have to go to the qualies for the next one.
Okay.
Once you're in, you're in. So yeah.
Okay. So when that all ended, you went to law school, right?
Correct.
All right. And then you started in a private practice, or tell us what you did.
Okay, so right after I graduated law school, I ended up working for a firm in Newark, Carpenter Bent Morrissey, where coincidentally Matt Gitterman was also an attorney there. He got my foot in the door there, and I was there for just under 2 years. And while I was in law school, I applied everywhere, including CIA, FBI, everything else. And lo and behold, the FBI said, "Hey, your application's active. We want you." So I went to the FBI Academy.
Right. And I had always heard before I met you about this tennis player who was an FBI agent, and it was you. So
yeah, I don't know if there's anybody else who ever did. It's not exactly a sport that's conducive to law enforcement. So.
Right. Okay. So then you started a family, right? And
yeah.
you have 2 boys.
Yep.
And so right away, when did you start, getting them involved?
I didn't get them involved. They got involved.
They got involved. They saw the dad.
I made sure that I didn't want to force them into playing anything. And when you talk to them, you'll understand too. I mean, they both played rec soccer, and they were playing every other sport they could. But by the time they were 10, 11, you had to specialize, especially something like tennis, where you have so many kids. By the time they're 9, they're in academies. They're just focusing only on tennis, and you can't compete with them if you're doing too many things. So
okay, so let's introduce the boys now. Ishan, can we say hello to you?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, how you doing, bud?
I'm doing well right now. How are you?
Great to see you. So so you're watching your dad, right, playing tennis, and no one plays more tennis than your dad, right? He's we'll talk about it in a little while. So you saw him playing, and right away you said, I want to get on the court.
Yeah, I mean, I got on a court at a very young age. I want to say when I was 4 years old. I mean, he was going every day, so might as well tag along, right?
Right. And so you're lefty like your dad, but your styles couldn't be more different. But he was, I guess, able to show you the angles, that a lefty can create, at a young age.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, he has my slice backhand.
Yeah, I mean, we had some similar shots, but I guess different body styles too, body types. I'm a lot bigger than him, taller. So I just grew up playing the modern game a little bit more.
Right. So tell the audience where you played in high school, and then we'll talk about where you were recruited to. Okay.
Yeah, of course. So I grew up in South Brunswick my whole life, pretty much since starting school. I played at South High School as well. Only 3 years. In my 4th year, I was out with injury.
Yep. And then what colleges? I guess So you were recruited by Division I colleges, and tell us where you first played.
Yeah, so my first coach I was talking to was from Temple, and I guess that was the only coach that kept talking to me as I got injured in my senior year. So, I mean, it was the only option I had. I went to Temple. Unfortunately, things didn't go correct with that coach there. So I decided to transfer to St. Joe's University in Philly after my sophomore year.
Okay, and you're a graduate student there now?
I am a graduate student. I'm about to finish my MBA now, actually.
Okay, so and you're still playing for St. Joe's, right?
Yes, I'm one of the special case 60-year seniors that are still able to compete here. A little bit old.
Thank
Yeah,
COVID for that.
And what conference are you in?
We're in the A10 conference.
You're in the A10. So name some of the teams that you go against.
Yeah, it's a pretty strong conference. We have some good teams like VCU, who's currently ranked 35 in the country, and then teams like Dayton, Davidson, Richmond, all powerhouses at some point in their day. So tough conference to compete in.
Right. Okay. And so even in college years, you still practice with your dad?
In the beginning, I did when I came home. I come home a little bit less now, so especially as my brother got older, I started practicing with him a lot more at home.
Okay. And can we speak to Ashwin right now?
There's one funny thing there when you
Okay.
talk about Atlantic 10. So I gave Ishan one of my sweatshirts from 1985, I guess. It's Atlantic 10 sweatshirt.
Yeah,
Wow.
And he
Yeah.
showed it to his team and they were all amazed.
They're amazed
Crazy.
that had a tennis team, actually.
yeah, it's completely different colors now too from what that sweater showed.
Right.
The
Right.
A10 with the A10 colors.
Okay. So let's meet Ashwin now.
Ashwin. I'm also from South Brunswick. I played 3 years at South Brunswick High School, but fourth year was COVID year, so I had to skip that. I mean, I also started playing tennis when I was around 4 or 5 years old, and I got into it because I would see my brother and dad go out there and just hit balls, and I was always intrigued by that, and I wanted to try it out. And safe to say, I liked it, and over the years, just with these two who are good, I can always practice with them and just got better with that.
Right. So you're the righty in the family, right?
I
You're
am ready.
practicing against, you have a lot of practice against lefties, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And tell us where you are matriculating.
I'm at the New Jersey Institute of Technology in New Jersey here. I'm a sophomore on the team.
And what conference are you in?
We
Jay-
play out of the Southland Conference. So teams included that are Texas A&M Corpus Christi, University of New Orleans, and Nicholls State.
Interesting. Okay. Wow. That's
There's
some
nobody
schedule.
local.
Yeah.
Wow. So, and how tall are you now? I know you're tall.
About 6'3" I want to say.
6'3".
Oh,
You can
okay.
still.
He's exaggerating a little bit there.
6'2".
Okay.
Maybe 6'1.5" on a good
Okay.
day.
So the wild thing about your family is you guys, the two boys, you're still playing men's open, right? And then your dad enters men's open, right? So
Yes.
there's three of you from the same family playing men's open. You guys are in your 20s. Your dad's in his 50s, and he's still winning, like he still wins matches in the open. Like, how do those kids feel when they're matched up with him? Like, what's their reaction when they walk on the court?
They just think he's like some 50-year-old guy, just they'll beat him no matter what, and then they go out there and he plays like that, and then they don't know what to do.
Yes, but most people don't know what to do. So for our audience, Jay is one of the top senior players in the country. I think you've been in 2 national semifinals, Jay?
Yeah.
Right. And you play on the Atlantic Coast Cup team with me, and I recruited you especially. How many New Jersey State clay court championships have you won?
3.
3. That in the 45s?
Yeah.
Okay. So can we tell the audience a story when I saw you last summer up in Arlington, you're playing a match, and just tell us the previous 24 hours, how many matches you played,
Oh, I played in the men's open and the men's 45. I think my kids were there too for that. And
right?
so I played them back to back. And I beat,
Yep.
I don't remember
Right.
the kid's name, but I beat him like 6-4 in the third in a 3-hour match, and then turned around and played the 45s.
But weren't you also playing in a team match? I want the whole weekend.
Oh, that's right. I played a team match in the morning before all of this, because that's,
Right.
the problem is USDA leagues all around the same time.
Right. So you played how many matches in 24 hours?
Well, 3 that day and then 2 the next day. So
Yeah. So you played 5 matches in 24 hours.
yeah.
Just another day's work.
Just casual. A little casual day
Well,
for
no, I mean, when I
us.
was 20, I could do it with no problem. At that time, the next day I could barely walk, but that's
And I saw you when you could barely walk. I was like, what happened? It looked like a train hit you.
yeah.
But now I figured out what happened. So
I like doing it because that's it's that competition is the only way now to really get into that peak shape. You
Yeah.
can train all you want, you can run, but you just can't do it without playing matches. And
Right.
especially now, the matches are so far and few in between. When I grew up, there was, especially when I was 20, 25, there was a tournament every weekend.
yeah, and it was great. I mean, we had
Anticipated. That's one thing I feel bad for my kids, that they don't have that same opportunity to play as many tournaments as you and I did growing up.
Yeah, we had all the town tournaments, the county tournaments. There were draws, and you noticed at Martinko Park, 100 to 128. You know, you
Well,
see
even
places.
even regular USGA men's opens.
Yeah.
Every club had them everywhere. I mean, you could just look on the schedule and you'd find someone somewhere. And I ended up playing at least 2 summers where I probably played 15 tournaments a summer.
Yeah, yeah.
And I was overlapping because they were consecutive weekends, and usually the semis or finals would be the following weekend. And I hit a good streak where I was getting to the semis and finals, and then having to play the first or second round of the next tournament too.
Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about your family's love affair with the Crying tournament. Let's start with your first Crying tournament, right? And tell us what year it was, and let's take it from there.
Well, let's see. I was 14, so 67. So
81.
81, yeah.
Okay, so your first Crying tournament was in 1981, and do you remember who you played?
Mike Klebon.
You played Mike Cleveland. Okay. Yeah.
Wait, you played Mike Cleveland?
Yeah, it was his Dan Klebon's uncle.
Dan Cleveland's father. That's crazy.
No, uncle.
Nope, his
I
uncle.
thought it was his father
Uncle,
too. Actually, his uncle. Yeah.
Yeah. So 1981,
Okay.
and
I also
you
played.
Yeah.
I think the first round was Marty
played
Devlin.
you played Marty Devlin.
Well, the youngest kid in the draw, and he was, I think, even then he was the oldest guy, right?
Okay.
Back then.
And how many Cryings have you played since then?
I've never missed one. So now, other than the COVID year when we didn't have it, so 81, 91, 2000. My goal is to get 50. I'm
50,
at 45.
okay.
I'm at 45, I think, right now. So,
Okay. So
consecutive. Yeah.
so let's talk
No,
about
40.
unbelievable. Now that's a record. We know that's a record. There's no one who's played a more Crying tournaments than you. And
Up close. He played a lot too, didn't he?
yeah. And then Ishan, do you remember your first Crying tournament?
Against you.
Unfortunately, I did. I was 13 years old. I think I played you first round of that tournament. Might have been second round. Not sure.
I played you 2 years in a row.
Was it first
did,
round or
13,
second round?
and then no, first year was first round, I think. And then second year was second round, I think.
Second round. Yeah.
When we had crazy battle.
We had a crazy
Where
battle.
we were cramping up in the tiebreak, and I couldn't finish it off.
That was my last Crying singles win. I retired from the singles after I lost the next round after I cramped. But we had a battle, and that was quite an experience. I was 52. I'm not. How old were you? 14? 15?
14.
You were 14. Yeah. And it was humid and hot, and I just was like, oh my God, I'm in so much trouble. You're driving me all over the court. And then we went to that second set breaker and I cramped and the trainer came out and I was like delirious. And I was like, if Ishan just like hits the ball in the court, I can't run for it. And I don't know. I don't even remember how I won.
Wasn't that on the
but I-
stadium court?
I was on, no, that was on the grandstand, I think, right?
The
grandstand
Yeah.
court. Yeah. So that's when I knew I had to get out of crying, you know. So after playing you. So but that was a good memory. And that's how I got closer with your dad and got him, you know, we started to know each other and then we started, you know, traveling to events together and now Jay's a staple at a tournament I run in Nelson Green, which he's won, I don't know, he's won at least 2 or 3 of those. So it was great, a conduit, you know, through you to meet your dad. So that was awesome.
Yeah.
What other, now you're a big time player now, you've done well in the crying tournament. What is it about it that you like going to?
I just enjoy the atmosphere of so many people being there. You have three different divisions in each, in men's and women's. So it's just a good atmosphere. After work, everyone's there. Kind of know everyone too, from my dad and from me.
Yeah.
There's players from between all different ages. You see people you haven't seen all year there. Just good competition too from each match. You get to see people that you haven't seen in a long time in tournaments too. Kind of get stale playing the same section year after year. You get to see
Yeah.
the same players in most tournaments, but the crying, you have people coming from all around the tri-state area to play. People that have just moved in the area, so just a good like opportunity to meet a lot of people and play good tennis.
Now, don't you also have a cousin that flies into play? The crying tournament?
Yeah, I think we lost him. But yeah,
Oh,
we do have a cousin.
Ashwin, don't you have a cousin that flies in to play the tournament? Tell us about him.
Yeah, I mean he's older. He's in his 30s now, but again, he's also a lefty in the family. But
All right, so
But,
Viraj, his name is Viraj.
Yeah.
He grew up in Bridgewater. I mean, my sister lived in Bridgewater, so he grew up
Right.
in Bridgewater. He played. I mean, he played with all of us. I pretty much trained him the same way I was training Ishan and Ashwin. And so he only 3 years, maybe 4. No, I think 3 years ago, right? He got a job in San Francisco, so that's where he lives now. But he still flies in all the time, and whenever he's here, he does play the crying and any other tournament we can play.
So there's 4. There could be 4
It's been
family.
5 years.
Right. There could be 4 family members playing in the crying tournament at the same time.
I think last year there was, or the year before.
There was a time when there were actually 5 playing.
There were
Yeah.
5.
Many years ago.
Who was the other
There was
one?
1 year when there was 5. Viraj's younger brother used to play back in high school.
Oh, that's right.
Wow.
He played as well. Yeah.
I think the years he played, Ashwin was playing in the B flight when he was still, I don't know, 10 years old, 9 years old.
Wow. So, wow. I mean, we love the entry fees, you know, so we're happy that we love that you guys keep coming back, you know. So anyway, so I heard your schools played each other, right? Ashwin and Ishan recently, right?
We can gladly skip over that.
Actually,
Well,
they
we
played.
don't, I just need to know what team won. I don't need to know individual results.
They've actually
So,
played twice.
NJIT?
NJIT won, and Ashwin beat me to clinch the match.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
Okay, but
Well,
the year
that must have been a
before,
battle.
the year before, last year, they also played. NJIT
They
played
also beat us.
We're 2-0 against them so far.
All right, we're 8-3 in the year. What are you on the year?
We're 8-7.
It's not very good.
Really, St. Joe's is 8-2? Wow,
We're 8-3. Yeah, we have some good wins over some top teams this year.
no kidding. Where do you stand in the conference?
Right now we have 2 big conference matches coming up this weekend. We actually beat Richmond last week, 6-1.
Okay.
And they're usually a 2 or 3 seed, so we're waiting on some other matches to have conference, but we're anywhere from a 2 to 4 seed right now.
Interesting. And what number are you playing?
I play 4th singles.
Your 4 singles and doubles?
Doubles currently not in the lineup, but was playing first doubles at the beginning of the year.
Oh, wow. Okay, great.
Tell me
And
your
Ash-
partner.
yeah, oh, yeah. Who's your partner? Who is your partner?
Oh, my partner is usually Nate Perone.
That's a pretty good
I
player.
think that name speaks for itself. So
And Ashwin, tell us about where you're playing in the lineup.
I'm currently playing fifth singles, and unfortunately, I'm not in the doubles lineup right now. But if I do play doubles, I usually play three.
Okay. And what big matches are coming up for your team?
So we're playing Delaware on Sunday.
Oh, my alma mater. Where are you playing? Are you
Yep.
playing at Elkton Racket Club?
No, we're going down to Delaware outside.
Right. They play their matches well at the Delaware Stadium, or at indoors. They also go to Elkton Racket Club. Well,
Yeah,
good
we're
luck
playing that
against outside. Well, good luck against
Yeah.
the Blue Hens.
Thank you, thank you.
they actually just beat us yesterday 4-3.
No kidding. Okay. Well,
Yep.
I
and
feel
a
bad for you, but
heartbreaking loss.
go Blue Hens.
They're a good
But
team.
I
Very
remember-
good team.
Yeah. Well, we played Rutgers when I was there, and we lost to Rutgers, which still stings me, even though it's I don't know, 40 years later. But
Yeah, but at least you guys still have a team. Rutgers is cut
Yeah.
the program. They don't want to bring it back. So
I know it really is a crime. There is no men's tennis at Rutgers, and that's been a benefit to the college in New Jersey because they get a lot of the kids who would have played at
Yeah.
Rutgers.
well,
And
both Monmouth for a while, both Monmouth and TCNJ were getting all the players until
Right.
Monmouth decided to go all foreign. So
Yeah, so Monmouth is leaving the MAC and they're going to the CAA, right? That's what I
Yeah.
understand.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's and Monmouth is pretty strong, right?
I think they usually win their conference, or at least they
Right.
were for a couple of years now.
Yeah,
Okay,
they've
so
won it for the last 7 years.
Right, so that's going to be more competition for Delaware and Richmond and James Madison. So that's a tough team that's going down there. Yeah, interesting. So so Ishan, what are your plans after graduation?
I actually accepted a full-time job at KPMG. I start there in mid-July in audit.
Oh, congratulations! Might cut into your
Thank you.
tennis time though.
Yeah, the corporate world is. We'll see if it's for me or not. We'll
You're
find out.
right. Well, good. Well, congrats. That's great. And
Thank you.
and Ashwin, what are you majoring in?
I'm a construction engineering major, so I have a lot of options after school.
Right. Yeah. So you really only have time to play tennis and study, right?
Yep. No social life. Don't have a social life anymore here.
Well, with that major, I can imagine that it's pretty tough. But you'll have your time in the sun. Don't you worry. Don't you go on a Florida trip? Do you?
Actually, this year for spring break, we went to Texas to play some conference teams and then just have our matches down there. And I mean, we didn't do as well as we'd like, but we lost to some really good teams and put our
where's your
best effort
conference?
out.
It's good experience. And
Sure.
Jay,
Yeah,
tell us about your wife, because she's the non-tennis player, right?
that's correct.
How does she deal with all this craziness?
She's okay with it because it's they play tennis. They don't do anything else. So they didn't go out to party. They didn't, there was none of that other typical teenage and growing up stuff to have to worry about. So at some point very early, she recognized that it was better to have this focus and be disciplined than just to be out there doing nothing. And it works.
Yeah, well, you have great kids, and
Thank you. Yeah.
and it's I'm glad I got to meet them through tennis, and that's why tennis is such a great sport. And like I said, what are your plans for this year? I know what you're going to be doing this weekend, but or in the next few days. But what are your aspirations in the next year? Because we've been away really from playing for 2 years, and
Well,
so
I'm hopeful that they start bringing more of the tournaments back. Right now, still like you're running one, but there's very, very few events going on. I mean, I'll play on the 40 and over league team. And that's basically it. I mean, if to even yeah, as you know, with the grass courts, they're not having the 40 and over or 45 and over grass courts in Philly anymore. So
Right.
The options get limited. But I think as time goes by, more and more events are going to start getting run. More and more people are deciding they can still run the tournaments and get back to life as normal, unless we have another downturn. We'll see.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm curious, is there anywhere in the house where like you keep like the family rankings, from like, historical family rankings, and, are they always shifting? I'm sure you all talk about it. Who's number one in the family?
Obviously,
I guess
Dad.
Ashton holds the crown now.
Funny
That's
enough,
now,
that way, all
you
my
know.
old stuff is at my parents' house.
Yeah.
Like I probably have, I don't know, 300-400 trophies sitting in, I would have thrown them out there. He said, no. So they kept it all. Okay. And yeah, I understand, because all of my kids' stuff I have, it's all on the kitchen counter or in showcases and all that. And then there's a whole bunch of trophies on the fireplace, because we don't use the fireplace anyways. And that's it. I mean, I don't know if we ever had that kind of conceit of like pecking order or anything else like that. No, it's different age groups. My kids are 4 years apart, so they never really played in the same tournaments until they got
Right.
to men's opens.
Right. But the dad is playing in the same tournaments. But so I'm gonna ask each of you, what was the most dramatic win you had in your career?
Dramatic win.
Yeah. Biggest win of your career.
Ashton, you go first.
Uh,
Yours is more recent for sure.
my most dramatic. I mean, I have a couple. Beating Ishan was one.
You had to get that in there, right?
Absolutely.
Last year I clinched against Drexel in my first match I'd ever played.
Oh, that's memorable. Yeah.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
probably my most dramatic, because it was very close, and I was inexperienced with that type of stuff, and the guy was making a comeback, but I managed to put him away at the last minute, and it was just an incredible feeling.
Yeah, it is. Nothing better than that, right? All right, Ishan, you've had time to think.
I guess my biggest win and my most dramatic win is definitely my first year at St. Joe's. We're playing our conference rival, Duquesne, and it came down to my court. We were in a third set, deep in the third set, and some tensions flying, some anger coming off both sides of the court, some abuse and whatnot. But at the end of the day, I came through in the clutch. One of the few moments in my life where I've come in the clutch to win.
Well, that's an
So-
awesome memory. Wow, that's cool.
That.
And Jay, since we're going through, I don't know, 40 years of tournaments, is there one particular one that stands out?
Should I do one for every 10 years? I mean,
Give me your top two.
I mean, wins are just matches. I mean, I played Naduko Odozor when he was 35 in the world at the Johnny Sample. That was quite an experience, and that's even though I didn't win a match, I think that always stands out. At the Westfield Invitational, about that tournament. Who'd I beat there? I beat the Sipkes. I won the Sipkes. I beat.
How about the win? How about the way you beat Ron Erskine? I think that's pretty memorable.
Like I'm saying again. So if you can almost go every 10 years, because Erskine was.
What about
the 2 years
Estrella
or 3
Burgos?
years? Who?
Estrella Burgos. Victor
Oh
Estrella.
yeah. I beat Victor Estrella, but that was before he was like top whatever he got, top 30, top 50. I don't know how high he reached. He was
I think he got like 60 in the world 5 years ago.
but it very
He
strange.
got to top 30. He got to just around.
Oh, he got to 30?
He was Victor Estrella
nice.
then. Before he
Okay.
became Estrella Burgos, but he was really good even then. But I don't think he's joined the tour after that. Really went hard at it and made amazing results. But I think that was like in the 90s.
Okay. Quickly tell us about that match you played Ron Erskine in the Atlantic Coast Cup. What you were down and you came back.
We was down in the tiebreak. I think 7 match points. And
Weren't you
somehow I won the points.
down like 9-1?
Yeah, it was a 9-1, a 9-2, I think it was. So it was
Yeah,
And somehow I reeled off 9 straight points to win it. And he threw his racket and
Unbelievable.
everything
Because-
after. Yeah.
yeah, because that guy is an amazing, former state champion and North Carolina ACC conference winner. So that was that's right up.
That was at the Atlantic Cup. I mean,
That was
I
at the
don't-
Atlantic Cup.
ever
Yeah.
since you recruited me, I don't think I've missed one.
Yeah, well, it's a great event where we get
Yeah.
you get former pros out and top college players. I mean, there's really, it's a tremendous event. I'm glad it's going to come back this year, and you'll be traveling again with me. So
Yeah.
we'll be on the circuit again. It's
That's the great thing about tennis. Whether you're 10 years old playing tournaments or 60 or 70, there's something out there for you. I mean,
Yeah,
it's maybe
Yeah.
the only sport, I guess golf, but other than that, there's no other sport that offers you that kind of opportunity. So,
yeah, and we're still plugging away. It's not over yet for me or you. So anyway, well, I just wanted to thank you guys for coming on. I know the boys are busy with school, to take time out and talk to me and really tell everyone about this family, because maybe some people don't know about you, but to have a father like this who's been playing successfully for over 40 years, and to have two boys playing Division I tennis, it's a great story. I got to meet you and the boys at the Crying tournament, and the friendship has just evolved, and just so happy to be able to talk to you and find some tidbits about you guys that I didn't know, and share it with the audience. And it's been great. So I'm sure we will see each other very shortly. I know Jay and I will see each other next week at the Nelson Green. And boys, have a great semester, and I hope to see you at the Crying tournament.
I will be there unless,
Oh, we'll be there for sure. No worries about that.
It would not be the same without your family. So I look forward to seeing
no,
both of
it's
you.
like Ishan was saying before, there's something unique about it.
Yeah,
Back in the day, it was almost like the summer ending tournament. There was nothing after that. Now there are a couple other events, but still, this just the atmosphere, the camaraderie, the what Mark Vecchiola and Jim Crine and yourself running it. It's phenomenal. I mean,
yeah, it's just a great event. I'm so lucky to be part of it, and we will see you in a few months, boys. So good luck with school, and I'll be following you in your conference tournaments, and keep up the good work.
thank you.
Thanks, Mike.
All right,
Appreciate it.
all right.
Appreciate
Take care,
talking to you.
guys. Take